Shalom, shalom. I'm giving all praises to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushua, by Hashem, Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS that rule and teach wisdom, scripture, and salutations to the Akim out there doing work in truth and sincerity. Today's lesson, I'm going to coin this. You have been the epitome of wickedness and the forefront of its seduction. And so, in regards to that, I'm talking about California. Okay, California has a high level of witchcraft and its seductiveness for not only the American citizens as well as the world. And so we know that Esau Edom deals with weapons because he was given the sword. And so the sword in the scriptures, loosely paraphrasing, is an instrument of death and or destruction. And so with that being said, this was a blessing that was given to Esau Edom during the departure of our forefather Isaac, when he was on his bed in his last moments. He gave a blessing to Jacob, and he also gave a blessing to Esau. Now, okay, the blessing that Esau got was a sword because the blessing of the dew of the earth was already given to Jacob, because Isaac thought that Jacob was Esau, so he can give him the blessing, but that's not the way that the Lord played it out. And so with that being said, fast forwarding it to this time, the only reason why Esau Edom exists is to keep Jacob in check. Okay, Jacob is the only one that's given the promise and all the benefits and the name. Okay, let's not forget the name and the name that comes along with being the prince of the power. Okay, the blessing that Esau Edom was given was a sword. And there's no other that has the blessing that Esau Edom has to destroy, to rape, rob, and murder. Okay. The Lord is going to punish Esau Edom in the end. Okay. That's when we get our blessing. Right now, it's been temporarily removed or put on pause. But 5 forest fires at the same time that causes concern and speculation and scrutinization. Five forest fires going on at the same time. You heard of the direct energy weapons. Direct energy weapons is what has been rumored to have been used on the Palisades area, Los Angeles area. Only the wicked are the ones that don't mind unaliving dozens, if not thousands, of people and do it with a grin, a smile on his face. Has no form of sense of judgment. Okay, even though that Yahweh Shai uses Esau Edom to implement judgment, we have to understand that the judgment will be put on the punisher in the end. Okay, I'm going to play a little bit of this, and Lord willing, I can follow up with a few scriptures.
What's being done, what decision was made, how to cut off power, where to cut off power, and when these customers can expect for power to be turned back on. You know what? We're going to go to Stu up in Skyfox right now.
Oh, look at this.
Let's see what this is.
Whole neighborhood.
Yeah, this is what we were. Yeah, we knew this was here, and this is like the first chance that we're actually kind of getting a look at that real devastation. When they keep saying over 1,000 homes burned in the Palisades, this is one of those areas. This neighborhood, I would venture to say, probably 500, maybe more homes out there. As I just get wider and wider, and you can see some of the homes still standing, but so many of them just flattened out here.
You got to remember there's a heavy curse on America. And, truth be told, mainly the witchcraft central, besides Louisiana, is California. So Esau Edom, the wicked, is doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. Okay? And it's believed that judgment works in these particular ways. Okay? Since Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, doesn't care about the other nations, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai only cares about what belongs to him. That's the nation of Israel and mainly the elect. So, goes back to let's get it. And so I can sum it up like this. Okay, let's go to Genesis chapter 12, verse 3. And so since the Lord doesn't care about the other nations, the Lord only cares about Israel. Just because an Israelite is wicked, that does not exempt the other nations from judgment for putting a hand on the nation of Israel, even though that they're wicked. This keeps the cycle of judgment going. This is Genesis chapter 12, verse 3. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curse thee. And in all these shall all families of the earth be blessed. So, since Esau, Edom, and the other nations done the harm that they've done to the nation of Israel, we're starting to see this play out of the recompense of what Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is doing to this country, to California, and to the rest of the world for touching the apple of the Lord's eye. And the only way that the heathen nations can be blessed is if they bless Israel. That's the only way. But since you've been found guilty of not blessing the children of Israel, shame is going to come upon you and destruction. The Lord is going to do double of what you did to the nation of Israel. You Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans whose lineage are on your father's side. And you speckled birds, those that of the seed line of Israel, but look like the other nations. This message is for you. And the message of destruction is for the other nations. I digress. I'll let this play.
Can bring the map back up here in just a moment, but this is off of Sunset near Alma Real Drive. That's going to be the general area, and that's also some part of the downtown area there as well. But take a look at that. This is when you talk about a brush fire and you say, "Oh, there's some homes that have been destroyed."
Oh yeah, the Lord magnified that wind gust. Okay, yeah, Esau Edom, he ain't got it all. He tried to contain it. But the Lord had bigger plans because he used the wind to magnify this judgment.
I never pictured anything like this. This is just blocks after blocks after blocks of that neighborhood out here, and you can just see it just goes and goes and goes. And then sometimes there is, oddly enough, there's like a structure standing or maybe a garage standing. But for the most part, I would say every home in this neighborhood flattened due to the Palisades fire. And I would venture to say also, during one of the press conferences, I did hear them talking. One of the people talking about an entire neighborhood burning, and there was no resources there. This might have been what they were talking about, because it just goes and goes and goes. But also in that same breath could you imagine being a firefighter, and even with all the resources that you could possibly have at your fingertips, how do you battle an entire neighborhood burning? This has got to be 500 homes, maybe more. This is something that I personally have never seen, and again, I would venture to say a lot of other folks watching have never seen, especially here in the Southern California area. The haze is still really, really strong, or the smoke out here, so it makes it a little difficult. Sometimes when you get that wider shot, you just think, oh, we're just looking at a neighborhood. But then when you really kind of push in, you can see every single home out here just leveled. You've got the chimneys, you've got some of the walls might still be standing, but the devastation is complete and just jaw-dropping. I'm really not playing. I have no words to describe this entire neighborhood. neighborhood just gone.
It really is. It's just all reduced to rubble. And what hit me the most is when you put up the names of those streets, Stu, I recognize one of the names as somebody who...
This is red letter, so this is Yahweh Shai speaking. And for those that don't know who Yahweh Shai is who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. His true name in the Hebrew is Yahweh Shai. He saves. And who is he saving? He's saving Israel and none other. 12:49, Luke 12:49. I am come to send fire on the earth. And what will I if it already be kindled? If it be already kindled. But I have a baptism to be baptized with, and how am I straightened till it be accomplished? So, with that being said, Yahweh Shai is going to come to put the finishing touches on this place just before the missiles hit. He's coming to bring war and to put all the heathen nations into subjection and to send the rebels of our nation back to the spirit world and to drink the wine, the oldest wine that's here on the planet. He's going to drink with the Akim, okay? Those, the elect. It said he won't touch anything or touch any wine until he drink, roughly paraphrasing. But Yahweh Shai, you got to remember, the Romans did unalive him. 2/3 of our people were a part of that because they gave him up to the Romans. So, he's coming back with vengeance. And he will not meet thee as a man. So when he comes back, he's not going to be born into the world again like he was to give Israel a way back to our power, Yahweh. Salakia, let me let this finish playing.
lives there, and I'm sure a lot of people for the first time seeing their communities and these street names, and they can identify their homes. And unfortunately, I do think that I recognize the address of one of our friends. And just to see this, that their neighborhood and their house is probably leveled at this point, it's just so hard to see.
Well, just like these people, we don't know what their story is, but perhaps they used to live here, right? And they've come back to see what was left, and obviously not much. But really, when you're showing us this image, you have to remind yourself, and I know I'm not alone, this is Pacific Palisades, this is Southern California, this is Los Angeles right here. It truly...
This is only judgment from Yahweh. Yahweh sanctioned those that's going to be unalive, and he sanctioned those that's going to be spared. He co-signed for this destruction because he wanted it. And nobody else can be accredited for it. No person, place, or thing can be accredited for the destruction that happened other than Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua.
looks like a war zone, and I hate using these cliches cliches and, these terms we keep tossing around, like a bomb went off or, apocalyptic. But there's...
You got to remember there's a lot of alphabet people out there. There's a lot of witches and warlocks out there. Okay. There's a lot of those out there that oppressed Jake and done terrible things to Jake. This is the judgment. And there's got to be some 2/3 that got unalived out there too. Judgment on top of judgment on top of judgment.
No other way to describe it.
No, none whatsoever. And it's complete. They have a garage standing right there. That family that couple that we saw down there. I'm gonna see if I can find them one more time. We actually made a little bit of a turn, but they clearly are. This is like they made their way back into the neighborhood, and they are looking. You can see it. This is clearly their house. One of them has a cell phone out. They're walking around. They've got their masks on. But if it's not their house, it might be somebody that they know personally. But just imagine driving into your neighborhood, or anybody listening, not just you ladies. It's like you go home and all of a sudden every home on your block, every home in your neighborhood is gone. No words can really describe it, and it just goes and goes and goes and goes. I know that this is I was calling it the Commons area. Some people were calling it the Village, but now we can kind of see some of that as well in all these buildings. I'm not that familiar with this area. I don't know if that was the Gelsons or not, but there is a large building right there. Then there's all these smaller buildings and some apartment buildings. This is the devastation of the Palisades fire, and this is what we couldn't see underneath the smoke, and that our ground reporters worked so hard to just kind of emphasize, to let everybody know, like, this is what's going on. But until you kind of see a broad perspective of an entire neighborhood leveled, it really, picture's worth 1,000 words, and in this case, this is really more than 1,000 words right here.
And you couldn't get this perspective yesterday because of all the smoke that was...
You see this? Okay, this is a message to BOW. You see that? The BOW Israelites, you see that? There's no need to burn flags. Look at what Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua is doing. All we have to do is prophesy. Have faith and prophesy. Okay? And keep the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of our ability. Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua and the angels are going to take care of the rest. I have total faith in it. You just have to do your part. That has nothing to do with burning flags. Go out there, prophesy, tell Israel who they are, okay? Tell Israel that they have a time to repent, because they still do. And tell the other nations what their judgment is. Point blank period, that's it. That's all you need to do. And keep the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of your ability. Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua is going to do the rest. He promised that he was going to take care of everything. You just have to do your part.
Covering this neighborhood, and it was still very dark and embers flying, but today with the winds calm at this point, at this hour, and that clear shot, you can definitely see the devastation left behind, and it is just, again, you have no words on how to describe this. And you think about each individual home being someone's life and memories and home, I mean, the roof over their heads.
You know what's really interesting too is there's moments where you have a building or a business that appears to be somewhat intact, and you try to figure out how in the world is that possible. Like that, for example, all around it, right? And that goes to show how these winds are just so unpredictable, and it just takes a second for it to go one direction and then another. And I guess in this case, like that home or that structure is saved. It's just so strange.
You wonder about the construction of the material. Maybe that's a newer home or different type of material.
It ain't got nothing to do with that or what material the building is made out of. More than likely, and I speak as a man, it was a Jake's home. And the Lord had mercy on his property. That's all that's it.
Material that was used, or maybe the winds just didn't blow the embers that way, but clearly you never know also from the outside what damage is done inside. We talk a lot about the flames destroying these structures, but there's definitely smoke damage that could penetrate these buildings and homes, and it is hard to get rid of any toxic smoke damage inside these buildings as well, or inside these homes. So that's going to be another big process in terms of cleanup for people who have perhaps salvaged their homes, or businesses that have been left standing. What kind of situation are they getting into or returning to when they do go survey the scene after the fact? So a lot of questions, still remain as to how viable these structures are. Stu, thank you so much for this perspective. Of course, we're going to check back in with you a little later on, but for now, we'll take a quick break.
All right, everyone, you are watching continuing coverage here on Live Now from Foxy's heartbreaking images.
Check this out. You see that? Mel Gibson. Hey, ain't he the same one that said the N-word? The Lord's going to take care of you as well, Mr. Mel Gibson. Okay? This is just a start of your demise. The Lord is going to keep hitting you with destruction, Lord willing. You don't like the Israelites of the Bible? You want to paint Yahweh Shai as a Caucasian? The Lord's got a personal vendetta with you. And so, with that, I give all praises to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Kadash. And again, double honors to the apostles and the elders, again, that's the rule and teach one of the scriptures. And, Lord's will, this is moving us closer and closer to the kingdom of heaven and to salvation. Okay? And until next time, Shalom.